Hello there, everybody. I'm Mr. Game Pie. Welcome back to Let's Play Mega Man 4. Today, we're starting off with Ring Man. We got 2 Robot Masters left, and this guy. Honestly, Ring Man is one of the toughest levels in the game. Not necessarily one of the toughest Robot Masters, but Ring Man was specifically designed to defeat Mega Man. And while his battle isn't that tough, well, he's often described as being very clever, and you can see that with his stage design. Already, it's being kind of ridiculous. But yeah, the Rain Flush makes these rooms to be not too much trouble. The stage alone is honestly a reason why I would not go to Ring Man first under any circumstances. Getting through these rooms with all these bullets that are firing everywhere and all these floors that, you know, zap out from under ya, not a good time. Alright, let's get the Flash Stopper started up because we have a mini-boss. It's a hippo on a platter, because that's a thing. And yeah, normally he'll spit out missiles at you, and I mean, technically he still does that, but the missiles are all stuck in time, so they can't really do anything. And now let's check out that new weapon that we've got, the Dust Crusher. The Dust Crusher will hit an enemy, and whenever it does, it will split into 4 sections. The fact that it splits into 4 sections rarely ever actually results in another enemy being defeated, but it does essentially triple the damage output of a single shot. Because after all, the initial shot will hit, and then another 2 shots will often hit afterwards. A charge shot in A charge shot in this game does 3 damage per hit, so it's basically a charge shot on command without any trouble. So yeah, this mini-boss is rarely vulnerable, but the Flash Stopper will increase the vulnerability time for a long time, essentially. And we start seeing why this level is not good to start out with, because already we have 3 mini-bosses to fight. And if time isn't stopped for these guys, they're really annoying. Like, really annoying. Those shots that the hippo shoots out, they're homing shots that last for quite a while. But we have a secret up here. It's Eddie! So Eddie, what you gonna give us this time? Another E-Tank! Oh my gosh! Incredible. Alright, let's bring out the Dust Crusher again. So we have more of those carnival guys. Little bumper car dudes. There we go. Alright, now these ring platforms, they'll start, well, disappearing against you rather than with you. Makes them quite a bit more dangerous. So we have that guy up there. Let's see if the dive missile will cooperate. There we go. There's a dive missile. I haven't used that, like, at all yet. Cool. I did it. I used the dive missile a little bit. Honestly, one of my least used weapons in this game because it's just not very accurate. Like, I mean, it's a homing weapon, but, like, it's kind of a bad homing weapon. And now we just take this guy out, like, super easy. No problem. Though I guess we did use up all of our Flash Stopper over the course of the level. One last slide, and we got the boss room. So Ring Man himself is pretty pattern-based, not too terribly difficult. Although that said, he is quite damaging. You generally want to stay a little bit far away from Ring Man. Depending on where you are determines how far he'll throw his ring boomerangs. And you do probably want him to throw them rather far away, because otherwise things can become very restricting, and things can become almost impossible to dodge at that point. And there we go. We got him. So with that, there's one more Robot Master to beat. And he's pretty cool. Not that tough, but pretty cool. And we got the ring boomerang. It's not one that I use a whole lot, but it's useful in its own way sometimes. So, let's move on. Pharaoh Man, the final Robot Master. We do have his weakness. For once, because I've been doing reverse weakness order. Alright, so let's bring out Dustman's weapon. Whenever it comes to my introduction to the Mega Man series, I was sort of introduced to it 3 different times. Back in my Kirby Nightmare Dreamland Let's Play, I mentioned that a school that I went to had like a lot of ROMs on their computers for a ton of NES games. One of which was Kirby's Adventure, which is why whenever I saw ads for Nightmare Dreamland, I was able to recognize the game, because Nightmare Dreamland was a Game Boy Advance remake of Kirby's Adventure. But it also had a lot of the classic Mega Man games. And a lot of us never played these games, so we didn't really know what the heck was going on with them. But I distinctly remember us playing, well, trying to play Mega Man 4 a lot. We could never get past these sand pit areas. The scorpions would always take us out before we could take them out. Although I do remember us playing Skullman's stage quite a bit, and actually making it to him at least once. Though Skullman would obliterate us, inevitably. I think we also tried to play Toadman's stage at some point, but like, we couldn't beat the guy. Well, we couldn't even get past the rain room, where, you know, we kept messing up the jumps. So since this section is mostly auto-scroll, with just things occasionally trying to shoot at us, let's use the Skull Barrier, since it will protect us from things that are trying to shoot at us. There we go, we have used the Skull Barrier. Congratulations! There's this room right here. Sometimes it feels like you should be able to drill bomb this wall, but you can't. Indeed, nothing can destroy that wall. So, let's see, I think we want to put Skull Barrier back on again. Yes, it's another one of these rooms. Alright, there we go. He tossed his head at us, and now he is dead. No head, you're dead. Remember that. It'll be important later. Those mummy guys have a surprisingly large amount of health. Skull Barrier might not be a weapon that I use very often, but at least it does have a moment for it to be useful. So I do have Pharaoh Man's weakness, and if you've been paying attention, you might expect it to be, you know, Bright Man's weapon, since he was the first Robot Master that I fought. And that is correct. But since I fought every other Robot Master with the Mega Buster so far, I may as well continue the trend and fight him with it too. It would only be fair, after all. So, yeah, every Mega Man game tends to have a Robot Master that kind of acts as a rival to Mega Man. The first game had Elect Man, who could destroy him very easily. The second game had Quick Man, who could also destroy him very easily. The third game had Shadow Man, who basically had Mega Man's new technique of the game, the slide. And here we have Pharaoh Man, who I consider to be that of this game, because he has his own version of Mega Man's new technique, the Charge Shot. Oh, that was my last life. Well, since last time I took a secret pathway anyway, to get the balloon item, I may as well take the regular pathway this time, just to show what that's like. And, yeah, we got a bunch of these little ladybug helicopter enemies in here. Woohoo! There they are. This is where you might normally be introduced to the mummy enemies. And oh boy, there's an E-Tank there, which we're not gonna get. And there we go, this is where the paths meet. So let's just skip over to Shadow Man. And of course, by Shadow Man, I mean Pharaoh Man. Pharaoh Man's fight can often feel like a fight against the AI. Sometimes, you get lucky and he'll just stand there charging his attacks constantly. Other times, you don't get lucky and he'll throw projectiles at you constantly. Oh, come on. I'm not all that great at dodging his a projectile barrage, honestly. But of course, whenever he just stands there and charges up constantly, it's not that difficult to defeat. Oh. Darn it, Pharaoh Man! Why don't you just stand there and charge? Pretend to be a Dragon Ball Z protagonist. Pharaoh Man is generally a pretty cool robot master, though. Like, I mean, especially if you know about his moment in the animated series. Or normally in the animated series, Mega Man, instead of having to defeat a boss to steal their powers, he just generally has to, like, touch their arm or whatever to take their power. A little bit odd, but, you know, it's reasonable, I'd say. But typically, whenever a Robot Master gets their power stolen, they'll just completely freak out about it. Like, oh man, they gave up, basically. But whenever Mega Man stole Pharaoh Man's power, no way. Pharaoh Man does not care. He just punches Mega Man right in the face. And I've been feeling that. Oh, there we go. I made a glitch happen. So, as you might have noticed, after defeating a boss, Mega Man walks to the center of the room and then proceeds to absorb their power. But if you're already at the very center of the room, pixel perfect, Mega Man won't jump to absorb their power, he'll just warp upwards and absorb their power. A silly little thing. Anyway, it's time to move on to the Cossack levels. And it's time to hear one of my favorite Mega Man songs. Aw, yeah. Got an extra life over there, hidden. And, yeah, so it's time to start off the castle levels. The intro to this castle is pretty neat. Typically, you'll see some level first of Mega Man, you know, invading the fortress in some way. And we got a pretty cool intro here with the ice level section where, you know, everything's all snowed over. The snow makes you walk slow, the ice makes you slippery. And you got lots of pine trees off in the distance. And indeed, things will continue being slippery as we enter. So we have a lot of bumper car enemies. Let's just rain on their parade. Perfect. But yeah, as we get to these roofs, we have more ice. Who would have guessed? And yeah, we have lots of the up and down enemies here. I'm pretty sure that's what they're called, up and downs. And we have lots of the Skeleton Joe guys. If you just have some nice timed charge shots, there'll be no problem at all. Unless they are a problem. But they are. Alright, we can just refill that rain flush right up again. And for this part, I like to use the Flash Stopper. Because there's an up and down enemy that comes from that pit, and there's this guy right here. And between his projectile and the up and down enemies constantly respawning, it's a problematic combination. Easily able to knock you into the pit. But if you use the Flash Stopper, they can't do anything at all. Also, here's the item that we got from Pharaoh Man stage. It's the balloon! And this level might be known as the level where you use the balloon. Because, yeah, it's useful here. You can easily circumnavigate quite a few of these sections that you might normally need Rush Jet for instead. Or Rush Coil for. I mean, I guess either way, I suppose. Yeah, those little claw enemies. They'll climb up and down ladders, try to nab ya. And if they nab you, you'll fall off the ladder, probably never to return to it again. So, important rule about the castle bosses in this game. They're generally either weak to Ring Boomerang or Dust Crusher. In this case, our Mothra lookalike is weak to the Ring Boomerang. That said, I've never fully understood this thing's hitbox. It's, sometimes it feels like I try to jump into it and it hits me even though I did not touch it. But yeah, it can destroy the floor. That's fairly dangerous. But it does so very slowly. and you have 2 layers of floor to work with, so not that bad. That said, I think that's about it for this time. So next time we take on Cossack Level 2. Until then, I've been Mr. Game Pie.